Manchester United's mini revival under Michael Carrick keeps rolling.
Early ball into the box, Šeško inside the area, Šeško at the Stretford end! Manchester United take 3 points away from the game against Fulham.
And from the very first minute of the second half, there were only one team that were actually dominant, and that was Manchester United. They were by far the better team in the second half. Michael Carrick's men went in with positivity.
United were cruising at 2-0, panicking at 2-2, and then losing their minds when Benjamin Šeško smashed home a stunning winner in the 94th minute. It was 3 wins in a row since Carrick stepped in, and Old Trafford was believing again.
Ryan Mbeumo at the Stretford end! Dorcu's arriving, it's in, it's 2! Manchester United have got themselves a cushion!
But if that is the level, and if they continue to produce performances like that, why not Michael Carrick long term?
What they've done has been absolutely fantastic. And I think more than anything, they've been talking to them. They made them understand what Manchester United is supposed to be.
Michael Carrick equaled Ruben Amorim's best ever winning run at Manchester United, which was 3 games. It took Amorim 47 games to do that. It took Carrick just 3.
Listen, if this man can build something, he deserves it for me. I don't see the point in looking elsewhere, and you can always say, yeah, that looks good, oh yeah, that looks nice over there. You know what? Stick with what you got, baby.
For the opener, Bruno Fernandes floated the ball in and Casemiro powered home a header. United doubled the lead early in the second half when Casemiro slid a smart pass through to Cunha, who finished it with power. At that point, it felt comfortable, but it wasn't. Fulham kept pushing. Raul Jimenez won and scored a penalty after Harry Maguire brought him down, and United got nervy. Then in the 91st minute, Kevin stepped up and bent in an incredible equalizer. For a moment, Old Trafford went silent. Then 3 minutes later, Bruno Fernandes picked up the ball, did an incredible dummy, gave it to Šeško, who did the rest. Now this game raised a big question. How do United replace Casemiro? Yes, the guy is turning 34. He's nowhere near as mobile as he once was, and his wages are massive. But nights like that showed that United will miss him. He scored, he assisted, he dominated in the air. He even pushed the ball forward. And once he came off, Fulham suddenly found it much easier to play through United. I mean, going from Casemiro to Ugarte is just a massive downgrade. Even with a few sloppy passes and tired legs, Casemiro still feels like the glue holding this midfield together. When he's gone, replacing him won't be easy.
I think what Casemiro has done at Manchester United, and he's getting a great reception as he's leaving at the end of the season, he's done the perfect type of thing you want from a signing, in that his first season was fantastic, so everyone thinks, you know, he's a great player. And of course, he is a great player. And his last season, he's going out on a high. He's been fantastic this season, so he'll be remembered really well as well.
Tactically, the game against Fulham was a real test for Carrick, because Fulham didn't give United space to counter like City and Arsenal did.
I think there is something going on in this Man United team between the way they beat Man City and they beat Arsenal today, and the way they played was very convincing. And as well, when Arsenal come back to 2-2, usually it's the home team who wins the game. And they found again the resources to score the 3rd goal and to win 3-2 away from home in a top-level game. So I must congratulate Carrick. He has created something.
They sat deeper and forced United to come up with new ways to score.
We knew today was going to be a really tough game, and you know, getting questions all week about breaking down a low block and beating teams that you should beat, and that was never the case today. Fulham are a really good team, and we knew that we were going to have a lot of questions to answer.
Against City, for example, United set up in their basic 4-2-3-1. Mbeumo started up front, but he wasn't playing like a normal striker. Instead of staying high, he kept dropping into the spaces behind City's midfield. Bruno Fernandes did the same. Together, they kept pulling City's defenders and midfielders out of position. City pressed narrow, so United's plan was simple. Drag the players inside, then attack the space they left behind. Mbeumo dropping deep caused problems straight away. When he stepped into the midfield, City's defenders had a decision to make. They either had to follow him or hold their line. Either choice created space. As Mbeumo and Bruno combined, players like Ahmad and Dalot made runs in behind, stretching City's defense and forcing them to constantly shift. Even when the moves didn't fully come off, the idea was clear. United kept rotating their front players, swapping positions, and attacking the gaps instead of standing still.
One thing Michael did say was, I've told the players to enjoy it. We're playing for Manchester United, you're playing at Old Trafford here. And you saw a smile on not just the players, but the supporters' face again today, Michael.
It shows how Manchester United are playing, and I like this. 32%, when they get the ball, they attack and they try to get an end product in quickly. And that is something we haven't seen for a very, very long time.
It's a manner in which you win a game. If United would have fluked this game 1-0, I would tend to agree with it, but they had 5 and 6 clear opportunities. They defended well and they looked organised as a group. Mixed in with confidence as well that Carrick had given.
In one phase of play, Patrick Dogu ended up briefly playing like a striker, with Mbeumo and Bruno drifting into the half spaces. That movement stopped City's midfield from dropping back properly. It opened up passing lanes and allowed United to switch the ball quickly to the wings. Again and again, the same pattern showed up. One player dropped, another ran behind, and then a third attacked the space that opened. City were constantly reacting instead of controlling the match. Even when they tried to adjust, United still created overloads. On the right side, Ahmad was often isolated 1v1, which is exactly what you want from a winger who loves taking defenders on. He beat his man more than once and forced Donnarumma into saves.
The formation change for me is key. The previous manager, Ruben Amamim, played a formation that didn't suit the players.
Emotion in football does to people because, as you say, already people are starting to have that conversation. Tim, for Manchester United, this has been a long time coming. That performance, not just the result, but that performance has been, 5 years maybe coming?
Against Fulham, though, the breakthrough came from set pieces, something that Carrick clearly trusts. United are actually not that far off from Arsenal in set piece goals. It's become a real weapon for them. Carrick has also continued to use Bryan Mbeumo as a fluid center forward rather than a fixed striker. Sometimes he runs it behind, sometimes he drops deep. It's less predictable and it gives players like Bruno more freedom. Another clear trend under Carrick is that United are getting a bit nastier. They sit deeper, they foul more, they break up the play instead of pressing high. Now it's risky. That kind of aggression is what led to Fulham's penalty, but it's also a sign that the team is playing for each other, and they're playing like a team that really doesn't want to lose. Carrick himself admitted the performance against Fulham wasn't perfect, but he loved the mentality.
Credit to the boys, the late goal last week that we conceded to then go again and win, and especially today, which was even more tough to take probably.
He was delighted for Šeško, praising his work in training and talking about the fact that scoring a winner at the Stretford end is the stuff strikers dream of.
To then find a winner for Benji, I'm just so delighted for him, and he totally deserves it. It's a huge moment for all of us, but for him especially, and he deserves it. He's been fantastic since I came here, so he remember that feeling for quite some time.
He also singled out Kobbie Mainoo, who quietly ran the midfield again, making Amamim look silly.
Kobbie's performance was very, very good today in so many ways. Again, I think you could see that the way Fulham played and overload the middle at times in the movements, and there was a lot of work for Kobbie and Cassie to do, in particular in the middle of the pitch.
He was doing so much defensive work and was still playing with confidence on the ball.
And then with the ball, just that I've spoken about it before, about the ability to just cope. He's not really fazed by it. He plays his game and he understands what's needed, and the moments of quality it's kind of what we come to expect from him in many ways, and what I kind of come to expect. But you forget how young he is still, and
the fact that Amamim didn't play this guy and played Bruno, the best number 10 in the world, as a double pivot shows you that man had to go. The three biggest changes under Carrick are very clear. Bruno finally looks like Bruno again. The players seem way more comfortable with what they're being asked to do, and they're playing with real aggression. Many people claim that Amamim was the worst manager in the Premier League, and Carrick coming in and getting such good performances kind of proves them right to an extent. Now you can make the argument that Amamim laid this foundation, but I think most people can agree that the Portuguese man was significantly underperforming with the tools available to him. The change in system is of course the biggest help to the team. Since they've added an extra body in midfield, it's helped them both defensively and in the build-up when they have the ball. A lot of the problems that fans have been pointing out for the last 14 months were finally fixed. And what do you know? Suddenly United are playing well and winning games instead of forcing a system that kept giving them awful results. It was obvious to everyone, from pundits to former players to us sitting on our couch watching the games playing with our balls, what needed to change. But Amamim refused to adapt. And then when he finally did switch things up, he refused to acknowledge that the change was needed. The guy was so stubborn and tried to force a system on players who just didn't suit it. That being said, it is worth noting that under Fletcher, United used a lot of the same players in their natural positions and they still got exposed, especially in midfield. Brian, for example, played right through Casemiro and Mainoo far too easily because there wasn't enough cover from the wingbacks or center back. But Carrick has improved that. He's improved the structure of the midfield. He's been much clearer about about where the midfielders should be positioned, and he's made sure the wingers drop deep to help the fullbacks, who can then step into midfield as extra support. Tactically, Carrick has delivered in ways that United fans honestly haven't seen in a bit of a long time. Now, of course, the real test will be how this holds up in games where United are expected to dominate possession. That was always their biggest issue. The players seem to show up in the big games when they're playing on the counter, but against worse opposition, in games where United are set to take control and they're the ones dominating possession, they crumble. So the next few games will be the real test for Michael Carrick. It's also worth noting that United are not playing the exact same team they did under Fletcher. Šeško and Cunha both started under Fletcher, and the shape was closer to a 4-4-2. In the first few games under Carrick though, the system looks more like a 4-3-3, and Carrick didn't start Šeško. He played Mbeumo up front, and that makes a big difference. The feeling around the club now, it's strange. It's not necessarily pure excitement, and besides a few fans, it's not unrealistic confidence. It's more like relief mixed in with a bit of fear that people have seen this movie before. Amamim is gone, which most people are thankful for. But now with Carrick, some people are wondering if they're leaning into nostalgia too much again. Is this another situation like Ole, where Carrick really impresses as the caretaker, they make him the official manager, and United suck again? The one thing that you notice right away though, is that things around the club do feel calmer. Carrick feels safe, a familiar face. There's no drama with him, there's no embarrassing sound bites. The team looks organized, and the players look very comfortable, and that alone feels like a win, especially considering that United fans had to watch Amamim force a rigid system that didn't fit the squad for 14 months. So whatever Carrick is doing, it's refreshing. It's nice to see someone not trying to reinvent football. United don't need a genius. They just need somebody who won't make this team look stupid, which is what Carrick has been doing. Now, I wouldn't say United are back, but something has definitely changed, because for a long time they felt like a club without an identity. What kind of team were they supposed to be? How were they meant to play? Were they a counter-attacking side? Did they want to dictate possession? Those questions followed United through multiple managers. Everything under those previous guys felt forced, disconnected, like United were constantly trying to be something they weren't. Now let me reiterate, some wins under an interim manager don't suddenly fix that. United are not back. I already know the comments are gonna keep saying that I'm saying they're back, so just send them this timestamp. But what Michael Carrick has done in a short span of time does feel like he's restored something that had been missing. Maybe it's belief, but whatever it is, it's not some tactic, not some miracle formation, it's something much simpler. United finally look like they know who they are. Because in the past, there's been a lot of talk about the cliche United DNA, and most people, they roll their eyes at it. But under Carrick, it's become easier to understand what that idea actually means. This version of United knows it can hurt big teams. They don't need to dominate games, they don't need to control possession for the sake of it, but when the moment comes, they strike.
United coming forward, Mbeumo with a chance, 1-0 Manchester United. And Brian Mbeumo puts Manchester United puts in a good cross, and Dorgu makes it 2-0. And the derby, I'm afraid, is over.
And just knowing that and having clarity on what they're good at and what they're not good at matters. Because Carrick has actually leaned into what the squad can do well. They can defend together, they can stay compact, and then they can break with purpose. It's simple football, but it makes sense. And more importantly, the team doesn't panic anymore. One of the biggest changes is how United react when things go wrong. In the past, conceding first usually meant a collapse. Everyone's heads would drop, their structure disappeared, and whatever confidence they had left vanished. That hasn't happened under Carrick. Even when United are pushed back or under pressure, they stay in the game. They wait for their opportunity, and when it appears, they take it. A lot of times that opening has come from individual quality. Other times it's come from an opponent's mistake. Either way, United now look ready for those moments instead of being shocked that they're down. The other noticeable shift is how comfortable players look in their role. Dorgu is a good example that I discussed earlier. He's not a superstar, but it's a player playing with confidence. He looks braver on the ball. That doesn't happen without the trust from the coaching staff. Now, confidence isn't automatic, it's built in, and maybe some of it is from the Amamim days, but it's very clear that Carrick has reignited a spark in a few players who looked lost before. That goes for pretty much everyone across the pitch. There's a willingness from the team to do the ugly work. They track back, they cover space, they take responsibility. Maybe it won't last that long, but right now they're doing it and it doesn't feel forced. Carrick himself has also not tried to make himself the main character of the story. His press conferences are very calm, he doesn't give any grand promises, he's not trying to be in the spotlight. And again, that alone is a huge shift from the chaos that came before for him. Now the real tests are still coming, as I stated earlier. The real question is what happens when United are expected to control a game instead of being the team that reacts to the opposition. Because beating top sides by staying compact and striking on the counter is one thing. Breaking down a team who sits deep is another challenge entirely. So where does that leave United? Well, they're not finished, but they're also not fixed. And they're not suddenly elite, but they are much better and much more united, excuse the pun. Whatever Carrick is building, whether it lasts or not, the players and fans believe in it right now. Everybody is behind them, and they should be, because this team is playing really good football. And when everybody buys in, that makes this version of United worth paying attention to again. To see just how good Bryan Mbeumo has been for United, you have to watch this video right here.